and welcome back to Kell Tells. Today I am going to be reviewing a TV show. I'm reviewing Disney Plus new television series, Wandavision, the first 3 episodes, because that's the only ones that's been released so far. And so I just want to go in and do a review about those 3 episodes. If you have not seen the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, I would suggest you go back and watch them because I will be talking spoilers in this episode. So definitely go back and watch those episodes if you haven't seen it, if you don't want to be spoiled, because I'm going to get into some spoilers. Okay. First of all, the episodes, the first 3 episodes, they ran about 30 minutes, but I did read somewhere that the next couple episodes may get a little longer, so I'm excited for that. If you don't know what WandaVision is, like if you've been living under a rock and you just have no idea what WandaVision is, I'm going to give you the brief Wikipedia synopsis. After the events of Avengers Endgame, Wanda Maximoff and Vision are living in an idyllic suburban life in a town of Westview, trying to conceal their powers. As they begin to enter the new decades and encounter television tropes, the couple suspects that things are not as they seem. And of course, the cast of the show, you have Elizabeth Olsen playing Wanda Maximoff and Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch. Paul Bettany playing Vision. Catherine Hahn is playing their neighbor Agnes. And Tiana Paris is in it. We know that she is actually Monica Rambeau, but in the show, she's only been referred to as Geraldine, which is the name she gives Wanda in the second episode instead of giving her real name. I have thoughts on that and bring that up later. And then there's other characters, recurring cast or whatever. I'm gonna just preface this. I don't read the comic books. I've not been a comic book reader growing up. I did actually download House of M after the 3rd episode just because I wanted to see where this was going. I know MCU likes to change things up just to make it fresh for their audience, but so like I don't really know who certain people are. Like a lot of people are posting, oh, this person is this and this person is that. I don't know who those people are because I like to go into the MCU properties fresh. I like to be able to watch them and like get surprised. So I tend to not go back and read the canon material before I watch something, just because I don't want to be one of those people that say, oh, they changed it, I don't like it. I don't want to be one of those people. But it kind of makes me want to read House of M because of the fact that all the little Easter eggs that they're putting into WandaVision, I feel like I have to have that base to kind of get more excited about it, even though I love the show. Absolutely love it. One of the recurring characters in the show is Mrs. Hart, that's played by Miss Deborah Jo Rupp, or as I know her as Kitty Foreman. She's always going to be Kitty for me, and I just want to bring her up just because I love her and everything she's in, and she can keep coming back as much as she wants. I love her. All right, so let's get into my thoughts of the show. So first of all, we know that this is a true MCU show. So like you had the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, you had the Netflix Defender series shows, and you had the, Agent Carter, and what was he? Oh, of course, Inhumans. You had all those shows that were technically Marvel, and I think there was other shows as well that were technically Marvel, but they weren't MCU. Like, if you had to rank them, Agent Carter was probably the most related to the MCU, but because it was set so far back in time, they didn't really have to connect much. And then you had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which had Coulson, who was also in the movies. And so it kind of has that connection, like the MCU is the cool kids, and Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're not like the nerds, but like they're not the cool kids, but like Coulson's like, yay, I used to hang out with them, but like now I'm with you guys. So it's like tangentially connected, but like the MCU don't really talk to them or like recognize them as part of the MCU. And then you have the Defenders, which nobody knows. They're just like the group of losers or whatever. even though I love those shows. But they're the group of losers because MCU don't talk about them at all. And then, the Inhumans, which we're not even going to discuss. That was, just horrible. But WandaVision is, of course, the first actual TV show that is directly affected by the movies and will directly affect the movies, from what I gather. So that's good. So that means Marvel and Disney is putting their full weight behind it, and it's not going to be like half-assed like any of those other shows. So that's good to know. A lot of people were complaining about the first 2 episodes because they were in black and white. They were set in the 50s and the 60s. And so they were like, oh, this is boring. I can't wait for them to do something. Blah, blah, blah. You can tell those are people who didn't grow up watching I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched, all those classic television shows. And when I'm not old enough to be alive when those shows were out. However, I did used to stay up and watch Nick at Night and watch all those shows, Patty Duke, whatever. So it was a bit of a nostalgia for me. Like, I enjoyed watching those episodes just to see like that whole nostalgia kick to it. So I didn't find it boring. I found it quite entertaining. And they really leaned into that whole cheesiness of those old sitcoms, but they still brought like the weirdness to it, which is something I really, really enjoyed. I'm gonna talk about the weird stuff a little bit later. But the first episode was set in the 50s, second episode in the 60s, third episode in the 70s. So it looks like it's gonna progress every couple years. I'm not even exactly sure how many episodes is in the season. I should have looked that up. But I guess you're gonna see that progress each decade, or maybe a couple episodes might be in the same decade. But I like seeing that progression of time and seeing that nostalgia for those different shows. So I thought that was really a cool way to do it. And the way that they meld the corniness of those sitcoms with some like really weird stuff that was going on, or weird scenes. Like in the first episode, we have Wanda and Vision. They're having a dinner with Vision's boss, Mr. Hart, and Miss Kitty. And, most of the episode is kind of like straightforward, Bewitched style, sitcom. And then at the very end of the episode, you have that scene where Mr. Hart is like choking on food and Kitty's laughing and, like, stop it. Like, and it's like really just freaking weird. And everybody's just staring at each other. And then you have Wanda tell Vision to, go ahead and help him out. And I see that scene as like 2 different ways. So first you see it as Wanda giving Vision permission to use his powers to kind of like reveal himself to help out his boss. But then also too, it seemed like Vision was paralyzed to do anything until Wanda actually gave him permission to do something. And if you live under a rock again and you don't know, Vision is dead in the MCU. So him being in this show, I mean, they're going to have some splaining to do because he's not supposed to be there. He's not alive. And obviously, as you go through the 3 episodes, you realize that this is Wanda's control. Wanda's controlling everything. Wanda, it could very well much be all in Wanda's mind. So basically, Vision, him being a robot, he's basically like, I don't want to bring up, maybe life model decoy or just like a figment of her imagination in that whole illusion. Like, he's not really there. He's not really particularly let's bring it up. Like the other, like the neighbors and everything and Monica Rambeau, I think they're all physical beings that are trapped in Wanda's, I guess, illusion or whatever. Vision is probably like the one person that's not trapped there because of the fact that he's not a living being. He's not alive. He's dead or whatever like that. He's just a total imagination of Wanda. So her giving him permission to move is more like, hey, okay, my figment of imagination, I give you permission to do this thing. So, and it's just weird because like even after he saves him and he like visions himself out or whatever, his boss never, like, nobody says anything like, oh, okay, you're a robot, you just did magic, or none of that stuff. So it just goes back to, like, it resets back to normal. So that's the little bit of weirdness you do see in the first episode. And then we get to the second episode, which a lot more weirdness happens. I'm just going to start because I'm trying to think when the beekeeper showed up. I think the beekeeper showed up in episode 2. So in episode 2, we had the beekeeper, we had the toy helicopter, and then in episode 3, we get Monica's necklace. And all 3 of those points to SWORD. SWORD stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. Okay, so, SHIELD, and then there's SWORD. And that SWORD, the actual organization, was hinted at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, where we saw Talos. He was pretending to be Nick Fury throughout the entire movie, and then it turns out that Nick Fury was actually on the spaceship or whatever that is the home base for SWORD. So they kind of hinted at that it was coming at the end of Far From Home, and so now we're kind of seeing it. They haven't fully reimagined themselves in the movie in the show as of yet, but we do see it coming, especially with the SWORD or the SWORD emblem that we're seeing throughout the show. Like we see it on the toy helicopter that's in color that Wanda finds in the bushes. We see it on the beekeeper's suit, which I'm kind of interested about that because doing research online, I'm like, the beekeeper, who's this beekeeper? Why is he dressed up like a beekeeper? And it's supposed to be a nod to AIM, because the AIM agents dressed like in beekeeper outfits, but the fact that he had the sword shield on the back of his uniform, I'm kind of confused what that is. And then we have Monica's necklace that she's wearing, and it has the sword shield on there. So the toy helicopter, she kind of just blows that away, push that back in the bushes. The beekeeper, when he shows up, Wanda's like, nope. And she just rewinds the whole thing like that didn't happen. And then once she sees Monica's necklace, and, I'll talk about what else happens later, she handles that totally different. So we do see that Wanda can affect the outcome of this whole fantasy because, like I said, she can rewind time. If it's something that she don't like or she's uncomfortable with, she'll just rewind that back, and then like it never happened. So you see that she is manipulating everything. So House of M, I'm guessing, is what the storyline is going for. And then you have that weird thing with the radio where she's at her neighbor's house and it's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who's keeping you here? Blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like somebody's trying to break through and trying to break Wanda out of her, I guess, trance, illusion, whatever. And then like the neighbors are really weird. So we have, like I told you, what was her name? Catherine Hahn, who plays her neighbor Agnes, and then I forget the other guy's name, that the black guy that plays the neighbor. But at the end of episode 3, when Wanda has her twins and Vision goes outside, they're, doing this whispering, and they almost kind of tell what's going on, but they can't really tell what's going on. And it sounds like, of course, Wanda has these real life people trapped in this illusion, and Monica being there is a, anomaly. And basically she came, and it seems like SWORD sent her in to kind of pull Wanda out. But then also, too, it feels like they didn't, like when she was put into that illusion, something went wrong. Because I don't feel like Monica actually knew who she was or why she was there. And so that's an interesting to see how that kind of unfolds or whatever. We do see when Monica brings up, because Wanda has her babies, and then she's talking about, oh, I was a twin. I had my twin brother. His name was Pietro. And then and Monica like kind of remembers. She was like, oh yeah, I remember Pietro. He was killed by Ultron, right? And then Wanda just kind of like snaps. She freaks out. She's like, what did you say? And so Monica tries to reset herself to say, oh, it was nothing. So maybe Monica does know and she's just pretending. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. So we'll see what's coming up. But Wanda didn't like that. So instead of rewinding time and resetting the situation, she just yeeted Monica the fuck out of there. And then that's where we see Monica like falls out of the sky and she's on this grass. And then you see a bunch of military soldiers or a bunch of, I guess, SWORD agents or SHIELD agents. I don't even know what to call them. They come, surrounding her. And then the sky is all like, it's like staticky, like TV or whatever. So you could tell, like, whatever is going on, Wanda is affecting. I don't know if it's the world or if it's a certain section, and she could just yeet anybody out that she want to just yeet out. So it's very interesting. I'm really looking forward to see what's coming up next. Another cool aspect of the show is they have these commercial breaks in the middle of the episode. The first episode had the Stark Industries toaster, so it's kind of giving you a little glimpse into, other people or whatever, like ties to the MCU universe. Second one was the Strucker watch, the Baron von Strucker watch. And the third one being the Hydra bubble bath. Brainwashing. I get it. But the Hydra bubble bath. So those were cool, like little commercial breaks. And each commercial break is like based on the time period in which the episode is based in. So I think that's cool. And I'm looking forward to see what they go through for that. I'm really looking forward to see what's going on with the rest of the season. I mean, they have this corny sitcom-y feel, but I feel like as the weirdness progressed between episodes 1, 2, and 3, I feel like the weirdness are going to get really, really crazy as it goes forward to where it's just all out craziness. So I'm really looking forward to that. All those people that said the first episode or first 2 episodes, first 3 episodes were boring, I feel like MCU does not disappoint, and I think you will be satisfied once this season has ended. Like I said, I downloaded House of M. I'm going to start reading that like ASAP, so that way I can kind of catch more of these, because I know I missed a bunch of Easter eggs, so I want to catch more of these Easter eggs to kind of see what's coming up. I'm very excited for that. So I'm not going to rate this season or these episodes yet, because I want to watch the whole season and then rate it at the end. So that's how I'm going to do like the TV shows. If I'm doing episodes or, each episode, or at the end of, the whole season, then I'll do a rating then. So just wait for that till the series ends. I'm not sure how often I'm going to come back and review WandaVision. I may come back every week if it's just hitting on all cylinders every week. Or I just may come back towards the end or after a couple episodes, or when something like really, really, really exciting happens. So just keep a lookout for that. If you want to make sure that you catch those episodes, you go to kelltellspod.com and you can subscribe to the podcast if you're listening on the podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube and you want to listen to it as a podcast, go to kelltellspod.com and subscribe to the podcast. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast, or if you happen to catch the video, and you want to make sure that you get those updates on my thoughts on the show, you click the link in the description. Go ahead and subscribe, and click the notification button, so that way you get notifications when new episodes pop up. Also, if you have any thoughts, any comments, anything I missed, anything that maybe I shouldn't have missed, like you want to tell me, oh, you missed this is going to happen, or whatever like that, just comment and we can talk about it. So thank you for watching and listening to this episode covering Disney Plus's WandaVision, episodes 1 through 3. Check back later for any new episodes and also for the movie review episodes that I'm going to be putting out every week. Okay. Bye-bye.